Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the University of Nottingham PGCE webinar. My name is Helen. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the university is Dr. Alison. Good evening to you, Dr. Alison. So nice to see you again after quite some time.
Yeah, good evening, Helen. It's good to see you too. And good evening, everyone. I'm really looking forward to sharing lots of information with you tonight.
Good, excellent. And I am looking here on my right-hand side, and I can see there's quite a lot of you that have joined us. As far afield as KSA, we've got from Kuwait, we've also got from Qatar, UAE, and I can see someone from Africa as well, which is excellent. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. How we're going to conduct the webinar this evening is I'm just briefly going to introduce you to Stafford Global, who we are, what we do, and then I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Alison, who's going to talk to you about the program. Now, towards the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to type out any questions that you would like to ask me or Dr. Alison. Now, I will be looking at these questions quite carefully. A lot of the questions that students ask are very similar, if not identical, so I am going to start grouping them together. Okay, so let's get started. Who is Stafford Global? We were established in 1993, and we are a resource center for distance learning education in the Middle East. And we're currently the resource center for 6 UK universities, one of which is the University of Nottingham. And I'm sure Alison will mention in your presentation that we have been with the University of Nottingham for many, many years. Now, Stafford Global does offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelors, MBAs, MScs, right through until doctorates. So we really do have all the programs that will suit your personal as well as professional needs. Now, our function here is to assist you throughout the application process. So the mere fact that you're with us here this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants. So we do offer some academic support as well as some administrative support once applicants have started their program. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Alison, and I am going to join you again towards the end of the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Alison.
Thank you, Helen. That's great. Helen mentioned that we have worked together for quite some time, and the university does enjoy a really close partnership with Stafford. It works well for us, but it also works well for you as potential students. Okay, let's think about the University of Nottingham. The University of Nottingham is a really popular university with undergraduates in the UK and also graduates. It's a member of the prestigious Russell Group of universities, and it's really well known for providing what we call research-led teaching. It has a reputation as well as being a truly global university. We have students who come to the university from over 150 countries, and we have campuses in China and Malaysia. So it is internationally recognised for its groundbreaking research and teaching excellence. And should you join this course, you will certainly be taught by tutors with a range of specialisms which are worldwide recognised. But I'm going to talk tonight about the Postgraduate Certificate in Education International, which is a course which rests in the School of Education, which is part of the Social Services Department at the university. And the university is rightly proud of this course, which has been growing for the last 12 years and has now over 5,500 graduates around the world. It's particularly interesting, I think, from your perspective, because it's a blended course. It's a blended learning programme of professional enrichment for educators like yourselves working in countries other than the UK. And it's called a blended course because part of it is face-to-face and part of it is online. And we're really joyful about the fact that we can resume the face-to-face part of this course this coming October. During the pandemic, we had to run the course online. It was very professional, it was very successful, but it's really an important element of this course to be able to see you. And as part of the course, we would meet together in October and then again in the following March. So it really is truly a blended course. And I think at this point, one of the questions people do ask us is, when you graduate and you receive your certificate, does it say on the certificate that this is an online course? Well, no, it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is because it really is a blended course. Okay, I'm happy that I can include this on the slide today, that it does include face-to-face workshops. It's a real pleasure to be able to do that. But also, as part of the work on the course, you will work with your tutors online as well, in regular group tutorials or individual tutorials. And I think the important thing to remember is that this course aims to reflect on your own individual practice through looking at theory and research, and it enables you to compare teaching approaches in different countries. It's a course that is based on teaching and learning, and as such, it's relevant to those of you who are working in early years or kindergarten, foundation stage, those of you who are working in primary and secondary, and occasionally we have people who are working in further education too. So we cover quite a broad spectrum of people coming from different educational contexts. And that adds to the richness of the discussions which you will be able to have with each other. So let's look at the course structure itself. There are 3 compulsory parts to this course, three modules, bearing credits, which I'll talk to you a little bit about later. And the course is to be completed within 12 months. So it's quite a high-profile course in your life. It will take 12 months of your life, but we'll talk about planning how you get to do your study and organise your study in a moment. The modules cover 3 important elements of education and being an educator. And you'll notice that each of those modules that you can see on screen now are very much put within the context of international work. We're very conscious of this, and we welcome people from all over the globe for this actual reason. So first of all, you look at educational aims and values, followed by a real emphasis on teaching and learning. And finally, you'll be involved in some educational research within the context of your own classroom. So each module contains coursework, which we actually call process work, and each module is assessed by a 4,000-word assignment. But to help you with the course, you'll find that all the resources that you need are available to you online as part of those modules. So you don't need to search and buy things. Everything is available to you, plus the online library elements of the university. And you'll find the coursework is a mix of reading, writing, looking at videos, discussing things with your tutors, discussing things with your colleagues, your fellow students. And it's a very interesting mix. The time soon goes, but having said that, I think it's really important from the very beginning to think about your own programme of study. It's a very individual process. And again, I'm often asked, how much time should you be spending each week on studying? Well, we do recommend that in order to keep up with the course, you need to study between about 12 and 14 hours per week. And some people do some of that a little each evening, but I know you have all sorts of other commitments at the end of a working day. So some people might do that at weekends. But it's important that you organise a programme of study that really suits you and works for you. If you would like to discuss that with tutors, people are very happy to do that. So I mentioned the credits that you will get from the course. If you gain a mark of 53 or above for each of those assessments, then you are eligible to move at the end of the course, when you've completed the course, towards working on a master's in education. And it could be just simply a master's in education, or you might choose to do a master's in special educational needs or a master's in leadership and management. And those are all available as a continuation at the University of Nottingham. And like the PGCE I course, all the materials and learning resources for each of those are available online. Plus, you will have individual tutor support and group discussions. And one of the things I should have mentioned on the PGCI course is that once you start the course, you will be allocated a personal tutor who is also your academic tutor. And you will be working in a group with your tutor of no more than 20 students. So when we meet you online in between the workshops, you will be working with other students in groups of no more than 4 or 5. And that's a good size of group to share discussions, share ideas, challenge each other and support each other. So that's how we work in between the workshops. So if you would like to join this course, what do we need in terms of entry requirements? Well, you will need a bachelor's degree with at least a second-class honours or equivalent, or an approved professional qualification which is equivalent to that second-class honours degree. Now, I know some of you might be wondering whether your qualifications would be relevant or not, and Helen already mentioned the people at Stafford, the academic consultants, who will be more than ready to help you if you have anything that you'd like to ask. They will be able to give you specialised advice in this direction. I think one of the most important things, though, is if English is not your first language, you will need to achieve an IELTS academic qualification with a 6.5 minimum. And it is the academic qualification which you need. And you also need to score at no less than 6 in all of the other elements, which include speaking, listening, reading and writing. So that's quite an important part of the requirement. We also recommend that you need to be an established educator, which means you could be a class teacher, you could be a TA. We do include online learning and teaching in this. And if you are neither of those two things currently, then we do recommend that you become a volunteer in school, become part of a regular educational context. And that's really important for Module 2 and Module 3, where you will need to have contact with students. Of course, you need to have regular connections with the internet. You need to be able to access computer and be able to access all the materials that you will need. And I really want to emphasise that we do encourage non-standard applications. Those are welcomed, and each of those applications will be considered on a case-by-case balance. So please don't hesitate if your application is slightly different from the one I've just described. So how to apply? Well, these are some of the things that you need to have ready. You need to collect these and have them ready to show. You need your degree certificates or your academic transcript. You will need one reference, which is either an academic reference from your student days or a work-related reference. That would be fine. And you need to write a personal statement of approximately 500 to 700 words, in which you are going to be very clear, I hope, about your enthusiasm for joining the course. We also need a detailed CV. Please don't forget to put things on. They may not be related to education, but they may be related to some of the interesting things you've engaged with. You'll also need the University of Nottingham application form, a copy of your passport, and proof of your competency in English, which is what I've just been talking about in terms of the IELTS. Okay. So the position we're in at the moment is that we're currently accepting applications for the next cohort of the course, which begins in October 2022. And as I said earlier, that will be the two-part face-to-face course based in the UAE. And I've just been checking with Helen earlier that we will be based as usual in Ajman, and it will be a Friday and a Saturday. And I do understand some of the timings that you now have in the UAE. So we are planning the course to begin on the Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock in Ajman. And the first day will be slightly longer. We plan to work till 7 o'clock. And the second day on the Saturday will begin at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish at 4, between 4 and 4:30. So the programme itself starts on the 1st of October. That's when you'll become part of the programme and have access to our learning programme, our learning platform, which is Moodle. But the application deadline is September the 1st, so please don't miss that. And actually, the sooner you apply, the better, because there are limited places on each cohort. It is a popular programme, and we do have to cap the numbers. So if you are interested, I would suggest you start to apply as soon as possible. The two-day workshop that I've just talked about is part of the induction programme, and it's scheduled for October the 14th and 15th, the Friday and the Saturday. And I do need to emphasise that attendance at this part of the course is compulsory. If you can't attend or don't attend that part of the programme, then I'm afraid you won't be able to be part of the rest of the course, and you may be asked then to defer to the following March. So if you are interested, it's really important to put those dates in your diary absolutely now. So please do that, and please do remember it's compulsory. We have had a number of students actually from the March course, which started in March 2022, who for one reason or another could not and did not attend the course, and they are deferring to October. So it does change your timelines for completing the course. You'll also see on this slide the fee, which can be in instalments, it's flexible, and there is an application fee of 700 AEDs, which is part of the application. So I've given you quite a number of things to think about there, and I'm really happy, and so is Helen, to try to answer some of those questions now. It doesn't matter how complicated or how straightforward they are, please do ask, because we want to welcome you on the course, and we'd like you to know as much about the course as you possibly can before you join. So I'm going to stop at that point, Helen, and I guess that you've been already sorting out questions and grouping them so that we can...
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. And I can see there's quite a few that have come through whilst you have been chatting about the program, which is fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to look at Samia's question, and I'll answer that. The workshops, as Dr. Alison has mentioned, is on the 14th and the 15th of October. Your academic consultant would have probably sent you some information on the program already, and in that information email, you will see the dates there stipulated. Okay, and as Dr. Alison has said, very, very important that these are mandatory. So you must make sure that you can actually attend these particular workshops. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, Dr. Alison, can you please mention the timings for the face-to-face portion again? I did not quite hear that.
Yes, okay. On the first day, on Friday the 14th, the course will begin at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which will be in Ajman, and we will work through the afternoon and early evening, finishing at 7 o'clock. And then on the second day, which is the Saturday, we will begin at 9 o'clock in the morning and finish between 4 o'clock and 4:30 that day.
Okay, excellent. And yes, there is another one scheduled for March. As Dr. Alison has said, there are 2 compulsory workshops that must be attended. The March 2023 workshop hasn't been devised as yet. Dr. Alison hasn't got all the confirmed dates or times as yet. However, closer to the time, Dr. Alison and her team will obviously let you know about the March 2023 workshop. The timings and the dates will be shared with you with your personal academic consultant. So all that information does get provided to you once you have paid for the program and ready to start the program. All that information does get sent through to you by your academic consultants. Okay. All right. Okay. Fantastic. Now, IELTS. Okay. So IELTS is a very, very popular question. If my IELTS was completed about 3 years ago, do I still qualify to apply with the same IELTS certificate that I have obtained?
Well, that's an interesting question. My first response to that is yes, but you must make sure it's the academic qualification. That's the one which is needed for this particular course, because there are variables, but it is the academic one that you will need for this course. I'm not 100% sure that having done it 3 years ago means that you are exempt from doing it again, but I think the best thing to do is to assume it is.
Yeah, it's very important that you do send us your qualifications, anything that you have done, your certificate, your IELTS certificate. Our academic consultants will be able to look through that, because it is very important to also look at the date that you did it, the month that you have done it, and our academic consultants will be able to advise you on that as well. Okay, and here's a very interesting question is, how do I check my degree equivalence? You have mentioned that we require a bachelor degree on honours level from an approved institution. How do I check this degree equivalence?
Well, I think the best thing to do again is to make your application, and you will be asked about that with the application system which goes on at the university. I don't know whether your people in Stafford are able to advise on this, Helen, or not. I think it depends where the university is that your first degree came from.
Yeah.
Sorry to be a bit vague about that.
You're quite correct, Dr. Alison. Dr. Alison's quite correct. There are a panel of admissions people at the university as well as academics that do look at your degree certificate. So they do look at what institution you got it from, which country, which year. So it is quite important that your degree certificate and transcript is submitted with your application. One very important point that I'd like to make here is, if your degree certificate and transcript are in a different language, if they have been issued in a different language, they need to be translated into English, and the university would like to see the original ones that obviously in the language that they were issued in, as well as the translated copies. So please do ensure that all these documents are submitted. Again, your academic consultant will be able to advise you on that as well. Okay, right, so let's just go through all these questions here. Okay, now I would like to just, this is a question about accreditation, and I'd like to actually just have a chat about this, because I can see that a lot of you have asked the same question. The question is, is it accredited by my local ministry? Now, neither University of Nottingham nor Stafford can actually advise if these are accepted by your own ministries. And the simple reason for this is that the rules and regulations by the ministries in each country across the globe do differ. And also they do change. The rules and regulations constantly change. So it's really important that the information that you gather from your academic consultant, do submit that to your local ministry, do find out if it's something that they are willing to accept before you do apply for the program. Okay. All right. Now, a fantastic question here from Valeria. What are the job opportunities after this program, Dr. Alison?
Right. Well, we do keep track of all of our students, and we have been working in the UAE now, I guess, for 11 years, would you believe? And I would say that 95% of students coming on the course who are coming on the course because they're looking for career mobility and increasing opportunities for new jobs and new responsibilities have been successful. And this is particularly true in parts of the UAE and also around the area, but also far afield. We have students from all parts of the world, and it applies in all cases. It's because I think the course is a mixture of quite high-level academic qualifications, demands, but it also relates very much to the practical situation in which you're working. And it seems that students can prove this through their interview process or their application process for promotion. And I can't think of maybe 1 or 2 students maximum have not been successful in finding the jobs that they really wanted to go on to. So it's a very, very much a success story. And that goes back for at least 10 or 11 years.
Absolutely, and a lot of our applicants have immigrated to countries, Canada, Singapore, Australia, and very successfully have found fantastic job opportunities there. Okay, so I'm just going on to the next question. Okay, are you providing any specific subjects like physics in your PGCE?
No, because it's generic and we're looking at teaching and learning as a generic subject in itself, we welcome people with backgrounds in all subjects, physics, chemistry, maths, early years. That's really important because that's the context in which you work. And we are going to look together at the process of learning, the process of understanding, the process of knowledge, which is applicable right across. So we welcome people onto the course you will be looking at those subjects within your own teaching context, whether you're teaching physics or whether you're teaching early years. But I'd just like to add as well that we have students who have other backgrounds as well. For example, we have people who've been economists or architects. It's really important to bring some of those interesting backgrounds that you all have into teaching. Students need interesting teachers. And part of the course is for us to enable you, support you to become interesting teachers. So we welcome all of your backgrounds, whether it's subject or whether it's an area of learning, and we bring that into the context of teaching and learning, which is what this course is about.
Good, and this is an interesting question. I am fully aware that this program is not does not provide you with QTS. My question is, how do I go about attaining a QTS in the UK once I do complete the program?
Right, if you come back to the UK or you come to the UK, you will already have completed part of that by being part of this course. So you need to apply separately, and we will give you information for this, for the assessment part of the practical assessment of your teaching. And there are places in the UK that will support you in doing this. So that's a fairly straightforward thing to do once you've completed the course, and we can provide you with that information.
Excellent. And here is an interesting question about Sarawak. Do I need an education degree to get into teaching? Now, You don't need an education degree to get into teaching. You don't need an education degree to get into this particular program. However, having said that, it is very important, Sarawat, to actually find out, first of all, from your own school, your own ministry, what are the requirements for you to teach, either in that school or in the region that you are working and residing. Again, as mentioned earlier, a lot of the rules and regulations stipulated by education ministries do change. So it's very important that you find out what is required in order for you to teach. Again, it could be very specific to a specific school or to a region or country. Okay, I hope I answered your question there. Okay. Okay, all right. I have graduated from the Faculty of Medicine. So all my studies have been in English, and so therefore do I require an IELTS?
If English is not your first language, yes. I think unless there is an exemption because you can show that your degree is in English.
Yeah, the university is very, very strict with regards to the English requirement. And again, Samia, it's very important that you do share your documentation with your academic consultant. Your academic consultant will then be able to advise you if you do require to still meet that English requirement. Okay. Okay, now I will not be able to obtain a transcript of my degree. So therefore I might have to be on a non-standard application. Will this be considered? Okay, very good question. In order to get into the program, you do require to have a bachelor degree and obviously be teaching or have current access to a classroom. Very important that if you do have that bachelor degree, you do provide your academic transcripts. Now, in situations where students cannot submit these academic transcripts, we do look at whether you have 7 years or more teaching experience. And if that is the case, and we would look at your application quite strictly, we'll look at your CV, we'd look at any other qualifications that you have done, then there is a very, very strong possibility that we can enter into the program on what we call a non-standard entry, and that is based on your vast years of working experience. So Edward, and I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, do get in touch with your academic consultant. Please do send your application documents through. I will gladly also be able to look through them and advise you as well. But yes, there is an alternative way of getting into the program based on your strong working experience. Okay, good. Okay, and lovely question. Again, you may have answered this, Dr. Alison, but I entered the webinar quite late. What is the average number of hours I should be spending a week on this program? I am a single mom and I do have quite a lot of roles and responsibilities.
Okay, well, I did say earlier that the recommendation is between 12 and 14 hours per week. And that may seem a huge amount, I'm sure it does. But it's about organising at very specific times that you can do this studying. And we have many people on the course who have families, we have single mums, and it is tough, but it's about organising your life so that you can fit those study hours in. It's really important to do that. We will give you more advice about that should you need it. We're very keen to help you try to organise your time, but that is the minimum, between 12 and 14 hours per week. Okay.
Okay, and next question, which is again a very popular one, will my degree certificate or the transcript state online distance learning?
No, no, no. I said that at the beginning, and it doesn't say distance learning because this is a blended course, which means that we do meet you face to face as well as working online. So there is nothing on your certificate which indicates that any of it was online.
Okay, and yes, you have mentioned that the workshops are compulsory. However, what would happen if I cannot attend one of the workshops? For example, the Friday might be a little bit difficult for me.
Well, the university takes a very strong view on this, I'm afraid, and really it is important to be there. It is, as Helen said, a mandatory part of the course. You know, if somebody is ill and is not there, that's different. But if you can be there, you do need to be there. Otherwise, students will be deferred to the following March, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so please do get in touch with your academic consultant. We will be able to discuss this with you. But as Dr. Alison has said, it is a mandatory part of your program. Okay, and okay, what will happen if I cannot attend the graduation in the UK? Again, a very popular question. And is there any possibility that the graduation will be held in the UAE?
Well, if you can't attend the graduation, and as some people do come, we have lots of people who come, but your certificate will still be given out. Your name is called out. You are actually part of that ceremony, even if you're not there. And then, of course, your certificate will be sent on to you. So you are very much part of that ceremony, even if not in person. Your name is called out. We are thinking about you. So far, we have no plans to be able to do that in the UAE because we have 3 sessions during the year, the academic year, and it's a sort of huge ceremony of lots and lots of different courses, and it does involve all the key people at the university. So I don't think we would ever be able to do that in the UAE. But please be reassured that you are very much part of that ceremony, even if you can't be there.
Good, and here's an interesting question. What is the timeline between me completing the PGCE and gaining entry into a master's at the university?
That's a good question. Pretty soon, actually. If you were to start in October 1 year, you would complete the course the following summer. And students have joined the next programme, the master's programme, in that same year, in the October. So, you know, if that is something that you would choose to do, because it's very, very intense to move from one programme to another straight away, it is possible.
Okay, that's something to think about there. Excellent. Okay, and is there a need for me to attend the university at all during my studies? That is from Cole. And then the following question from Pat, something similar, is in the summer months, is there a possibility for me to come and visit the university whilst I'm in the UK?
Yes, I'll do the last bit first. Yes, we would love to see you. It would be very good to come and visit if you're in the UK. We welcome that. There is a period in the summer when some people are on leave, but we would be very pleased to see you. And the first question, no, you do not have to attend anything at the university. We come to you in the UAE, and in between times, we will be meeting online. Okay.
Good. And here's also a very interesting question from Syed. Why are there no examinations in this particular program? I have looked at other programs offered by other universities, and they do offer examinations as an assessment. Why is yours not examined?
Well, I think it's partly to do with the university itself, because you'll find exams are mostly for undergraduates, and this is a postgraduate course. It's at master's level, and most master's courses are not exam based. So if you were an undergraduate, yes, we would have exams, but most of the courses at the university post that stage will not be exam based.
Okay, the interesting question is, can I stop my studies for a short while and then resume again? And if I am permitted, what is the maximum duration permitted for me to take a break?
Yes, you are permitted to take a break. Usually it happens if something unexpected happens in your life and you need to take a break or you are unwell. We call it a voluntary interruption of studies, and that could last up to a year. But we do recommend that that is the end of it, no more, because the maximum amount of time for you to complete this course is 3 years. So you do need to complete all of your studies within this particular course within a 3-year period. So if you do take time out, it could be for that year that I've explained, or other people take other shorter periods of time out because they may be ill. So those are called extenuating circumstances, and they could be anything from a week to 6 weeks. Those times might add up, and it is important to make sure that you complete this course within the 3 years, which is the maximum amount of time allowed. Okay.
Good. And a very popular question is, if I do fail any of my assignments, do I get a critical review, and do I get a second chance to submit again?
Yes, you do get a critical review. Your tutor will give you detailed feedback and will also support you in rewriting. And you are allowed to do it again. In fact, you're allowed to do it twice. You can have 2 attempts before you will get a 0. You do have to pay for the consequent attempts. But let me just say something else here, which I didn't say when I was talking to you earlier. Your tutor, your personal tutor, who is also your academic tutor, does give you feedback along the way. So for your assignments, for example, you will get feedback, written feedback about your assignments, and your coursework, which is the in-between bit, between the assignments, you will also get feedback from your tutors. So it would be a huge surprise to suddenly fail an assignment. If you were struggling, your tutor would already know about that and would be already helping you. So please don't think we wait till the assignments and then you fail. That's not good practice. We'll be supporting you throughout the course, and if you are in difficulties, we will be helping you sort that out.
Excellent. Okay, and I'll just answer Miriam's question. Dr. Alison mentioned the gap between a PGCE and a master's, and as Dr. Alison has mentioned, you're very welcome to start a master's straight away after you have completed your PGCE at the very next available intake. A lot of applicants do take a little bit of a break after their PGCE. Some decide to take 6 months, others might take a year before they decide to fully commit themselves to a master's. And as Dr. Alison will tell you, it's really quite a lot of work that is involved. So you really have to be ready for your studies. So again, it's very flexible. There is no definite time gap between PGCE and starting a master's. So I hope I actually answered your question there, Miriam. Okay. All right. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to go to the last question here. As I said, I have managed to group them all together. Okay, last question. Dr. Alison, will you be coming through to the UAE, and which module are you going to be tutoring?
Yes, I will be coming. I coordinate the course in the UAE, so I will be coming myself with other colleagues. There will probably be 4 or 5 of us in the UAE in October, and each of us will have a group of students of up to 20 students. So yeah, I will be with us, and I'm sure my other colleagues who join me will also be looking forward to working with you.
Excellent. Fantastic. Okay, so I have managed to group all these questions together. So I hope that your question, or if it was similar, was actually answered by Dr. Alison or myself. As Dr. Alison has mentioned, this is an extremely popular program. There are only 100 applicants taken per cohort. I really do advise that you try and submit your documents as early as possible, because the program is very popular and does actually book up quite quickly. So do get in touch with us, get in touch with your academic consultant. We'll assist you throughout the entire application process. Get that application through to university and get that very important unconditional offer, and secure your place in the October intake. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Alison. It was lovely having you with us. Again, it was lovely to see you. And again, everyone that joined us from a far afield as Africa and KSA in Egypt, thank you for joining us. And I really do hope to see you all on our program in October. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.